Welcome to part 6, the final part of the Blender Design Figurine tutorial. We start with the same file we worked on in part 5. We have animated the figurine in a simple walk cycle. Now let's repeat the cycle over a greater distance. We could add a cycles modifier in the graph editor to make the rig object continue moving forward, but that doesn't allow sufficient control over the end of the motion. It's better to adjust the keyframes on the rig object directly. Let's say we want 3 cycles. The rig presently travels 3 units per cycle, so 3 times 3 is 9, and 35 frames times 3 is 105. However, Blender will remove the end frame from each cycle to keep the animation flowing smoothly. In 3 cycles, 2 frames will be removed. So the correct frame for the rig to stop moving is 103. In Dopesheet, select the keyframe diamond at frame 35 on the rig action channel, press X and delete it. Move to frame 103 and in Properties panel enter -9 as the Y location value for the rig. Set the end frame in timeline to 150. Turn off automatic keyframe recording, then play the animation. We see 1 cycle of walking, then the rig slides along for the rest of the distance and stops. Let's now repeat the walk cycle of IK targets and the armature by transferring actions to the nonlinear action editor. Switch the graph editor to NLA editor. Enlarge the Dopesheet view by dragging the borders. Check that all 8 objects are in the list: the rig, the 6 IK targets and the armature. If all are not showing up for some reason, you will need to select each object in Outliner. We're going to rename the actions to avoid confusion with any other actions that may be in the scene. Double-click on each action name and replace action with walk. I'm also using an underscore for readability. Eight actions for walking, great. Now reduce the Dopesheet view. In the NLA editor, push down each action onto a track by clicking the push down button next to the name. Click the 3rd button on the header to hide the empty action tracks. As we pushed the actions onto the tracks, they disappeared from the Dopesheet. But you can check in the Action Editor view, they are still in the Action menu and can be edited. However, if you're not completely sure what you're doing, the Action view can be dangerous. It's easy to make mistakes editing actions on NLA tracks where they don't belong. So remove the action from display if you've selected one and return to Dopesheet view. If you want to edit an action, select its strip in NLA editor, press Tab and the action will appear in Dopesheet view. Tab again to exit edit mode. When editing actions, it's a good idea to also select the object either in Dopesheet or in Outliner, again to prevent making mistakes. So we have 8 actions placed as action strips in NLA editor. We don't need to repeat the rig action, as that already covers the desired distance. Select the action after the rig, press N for Properties, and scroll down to Playback settings of the action clip. Set Repeat to 3. Notice in the Strip Extends field above, the end frame of the strip is now 103, as predicted earlier. OK, do the same on the other 6 actions down. When we play the animation, we get 3 walk cycles and then the figurine stops in place, in the same mid-step as it started. Now we can record 2 new actions. One that will transition the figurine to start walking from a relaxed standing position, and another to finish the walk the same way. Enlarge the NLA editor view and press A once or twice to select all strips. Move them to the right beyond frame 110, making room at the beginning. Duplicate with Shift-D and move the duplicates back on the tracks in the space we just made. Press Shift back arrow to move to frame 1, then Shift-S current frame to move the new strips to frame 1. Select each new strip in turn and in Properties correct its duration. In Action Extent set end frame to 12 and repeat to 1. Select the original strips and move them next to the starting ones. New tracks have been created by the duplication, and I'll quickly delete them. Notice that the actions the new strips represent have also been duplicated. Turn on Automatic Keyframe Recording, select the starting rig strip at the top, and tap to edit. With the cursor on its first keyframe, set Y location in Object Properties panel to 0.6. Move to frame 12, and in Dope Sheet, select the second keyframe. Press Shift-S current frame to snap the keyframe there. Set Y location of the object to 0. In NLA Editor, tab out of Edit mode. Now let's take care. We best start working on the left shin, so select its starting strip below and tab to Edit. In Dope Sheet, delete the first, second and third keyframes. Move the fourth keyframe to frame 1 and the fifth to frame 12. If we step through this, we have a problem with interpolation. Switch the Dope Sheet view to Graph Editor. Make sure the correct action is showing up. Then click the Y location channel. Press A once or twice to select both keyframes, then press the period key on the numpad to zoom in. There's a nasty bump there. Drag down the top handle to flatten the curve, then zoom in again. Adjust the handle again so it's just below the slope. Leave it at that for the moment, we can fine-tune later. Switch back to the Dope Sheet. In NLA Editor, select the left ankle starting strip and tap to Edit. Delete the first, second and third keyframes. Move the fourth keyframe to frame 1 and the fifth to frame 12. That levels the heel, but again there's an interpolation problem. Select the ankle object name and switch to Graph Editor. Select the Y location channel and bring down the top handle of the first keyframe as we did before. Return to dope sheet. Select the left thigh starting strip and tab to edit. Again, delete the first, second and third keyframes. Move the fourth to frame 1, the fifth to frame 12. Select the starting armature strip and tab to edit. Move to frame 25. We need to freeze the interpolated positions at this frame. In dope sheet, press I and select all channels to add keyframes where they are missing. Now again delete the first, second and third keyframes. Move the fourth to frame 1, fifth to frame 12. Go to frame 1 and fix the left toes bone by rotating it down into a level position. OK, we can fine-tune the left leg later. Select the right shin starting strip and tab to edit. Delete the first, second and third keyframes. Bring the fourth to frame 1 and the fifth to frame 12. Select the object and in side view at frame 1, bring it down to the same position as the left shin target. Go to frame 6 and move the object slightly up off the ground. Select the right ankle starting strip. Tab to edit and delete the first, second and third keyframes. Move the fourth to frame 1 and the fifth to frame 12. Select the object and go to frame 1 and move it in 3D view to level the heel. Select the armature starting strip, press tab and rotate the right toes bone to level it. Stepping through, the right foot stomps a little harshly. Select the right shin starting strip, tab to edit and switch to graph editor. Select the Y location channel. Adjust the third keyframe by bringing the top handle down below the slope of the curve. Click the Z location channel and do the same on the third keyframe there. The right foot is now OK. Switch to dope sheet and in NLA editor select the right thigh starting strip. Tab to edit, then once again delete the first, second and third keyframes and move the fourth to frame 1, fifth to frame 12. Go back to frame 1 and move the object closer to the knee. We need to fine-tune the left foot to stop it slipping. Select the left shin starting strip, tab to edit, select the object, then at frame 1, move it in 3D view with G followed by Y, enter 0.2. Let's make the right shin equal. Select the right shin strip, tap to edit, select the object, then move it with G followed by Y, enter 0.2. And we correct the hips. Press T for tool shelf, select the hips bone, make sure Auto IK is off in the Options tab. Still at frame 1, select the armature starting strip, tap to edit, then in 3D view, press G followed by Y, enter 0.2, then G followed by Z, enter 0.02. Also rotate the abdomen and chest bones to straighten the figure. In NLA editor, tab out of edit mode. Stepping through the animation, the left ankle target interpolation needs to be adjusted. Select the object. Select the left ankle starting strip, tap to edit, switch to graph editor, and select the Y location channel. Select the second keyframe and bring the lower handle back and up above the slope. Select the first keyframe and bring the top handle down. Step through the animation and fine-tune the curve into a gentle S shape. That looks okay. Switch back to Dope Sheet and in NLA editor, tab out of edit mode. Play the animation. Great, it works as expected. Now for the ending action so that the walk ends in a similar standing position. In NLA editor, press A to deselect all, enlarge the view, then press B and select the original long strips. Duplicate them with Shift D, then move the duplicates after the originals on the same tracks. I'll quickly delete the new tracks that were created. Let's correct strip duration for the duplicates. Select each in turn and in Properties, in Action Extents, set End Frame to 12 and Repeat to 1. Reduce the view, then select the Rig Walk Ending strip at the top and press Tab to edit. With automatic keyframe recording still enabled, move to frame 114, select the rig object and change Y location in Properties panel to -9. Delete the other keyframe, then move to frame 125 and set Y location to -9.6. Select the right shin ending strip and tab to edit. In Dope Sheet, delete the 3rd, 4th and 5th keyframes. Move the 2nd keyframe to frame 125. Repeat for the right ankle ending strip, delete the 3rd, 4th and 5th keyframes. Move the 2nd keyframe to frame 125. And the same thing again for the right thigh ending strip. Select the left shin ending strip and tab to edit. In Dope Sheet, delete the 4th and 5th keyframes. Move to frame 120 and move the 2nd keyframe to it. Select the object and in 3D view press G and move the object down and back a bit, like so. In Dope Sheet, move the 3rd keyframe to frame 125. Then with G, move the object to the same position as the right shin target. Select the left ankle ending strip and tap to edit. In Dope Sheet, delete all keyframes except the 1st. Still at frame 125, select the object and in 3D view press G and move it to level the heel. Stepping through between frames 114 and 125, the left foot travels too high. Select the left shin ending strip again, tap to edit, select the object and at frame 120, bring it down like so. Stepping through, the curves will need to be edited, but first let's complete the rest of the keyframes. Select the left thigh ending strip, tap to edit. In Dope Sheet, delete the 2nd, 4th and 5th keyframes. Move the 3rd keyframe to frame 125. Select the object and move it away from the knee a little. Select the armature ending strip and tap to edit. Move the cursor to 2nd keyframe in Dope Sheet, enlarge the view with Ctrl up arrow and zoom the view to see all the way to frame 1. Disclose the bone channels, then press I and choose all channels. If keyframes are recorded earlier on, click their action diamond and drag them to the cursor position. Delete the 3rd, 4th and 5th keyframes. Then move the 2nd to frame 125. Reduce the Dope Sheet view. Correct the left toes bone by rotating it down. Let's also straighten the figurine by rotating the chest bone. Tab out of Edit mode. Step through the action with arrow keys. We're almost there, but need to edit the curves. Select the right shin ending strip, tap to edit, select the object and switch to Graph Editor. Select the Y location channel and press the period key on the numpad to zoom in. Select the 2nd keyframe, press V, choose Free. Bring down the top handle and zoom in closer on the curve. Drag the lower handle of the 2nd keyframe to flatten the curve. Repeat on the lower keyframe if needed, but mine is fine. Stepping through, the slipping problem is fixed. Great. Select the left shin ending strip and tap to edit. If nothing appears in Graph Editor, uncheck the arrow button on its header. Select the Y location channel. Nothing to do here, the line is linear. Select the Z location channel. Drag the top handle of the 3rd keyframe down to below the curve. Rotate the handles of the 2nd keyframe clockwise slightly as well. That softens the hit of the foot on the ground. Select the left ankle ending strip and tab to edit. Select the Y location channel. Stepping through, we find that the foot should lift a little faster. Select the 1st keyframe, press V, choose Free. Adjust the right handle for a flatter curve. Select the 2nd keyframe, press V, choose Free. Adjust the handle again so it's just below the slope. Stepping through again, it looks good. In NLA editor, tab out of edit mode. Now, if we play the animation, the figurine starts and stops in a standing position. Great, now you know how actions can be cycled and combined with other actions for a longer animation. One last thing. As stated before, the best way to use this figurine is with accessories and props. So, as a final quick lesson, let's place a very simple hat on the figurine's head. From the screen layout menu, choose Default. Make sure Tool Shelf is visible and disable automatic keyframe recording. Add a cone mesh object. In Tool Shelf, set its depth to 1, and that's our hat. Press numpad 3 for side view and move the hat into place on the head, rotate and scale it. In Constraints panel, add a child-of constraint. Set target to the design figurine, vertex group to head. Click Set Inverse and play the animation. The hat is stuck to the head, bobbing along. It would be great if we could drop the object into the design figurine rig empty so that everything would be in one place, but that doesn't work. You would get an offset. Okay, now we are ready to set up the scene for a simple render. Let's do a nice blue background. Add a cube object. Tab to Edit mode and move the mesh up with G followed by Z, enter 1. Switch to vertex selection. Select the top 2 vertices at the front. Press X and delete them. With Ctrl R, set 2 loops, one each in the middle of the 2 polygons. With the cursor still at center, set pivot point to 3D cursor. Press A twice to select all, then S to scale, enter 20. We can enlarge it more later if needed. Tab to Object Mode and press Ctrl 3 on the keyboard for a Level 3 subdivision modifier. In Modifiers panel, set Render Subdivisions to 5. In Outliner, rename the cube Background. In Tool Shelf, click Smooth. In Object Properties panel, set Maximum Draw Type from the pop-up menu to Wire. In Materials panel, click New. Name the material Background. Change the Surface shader from the pop-up menu to Add Shader. Set the first shader from the pop-up menu to Diffuse. Click the color and set it to hex value 739 ECB. Set the second shader from the pop-up menu to Emission. Set strength to 0.2. Click the button to the right of the emission color well and choose Color Ramp from the Converter section. Switch to Node Editor window. Click the plus button on the ramp for a new color marker. Set its color to black. Move the white marker close to the black on the left. Add a gradient texture and connect it to the ramp. Add a mapping node from the vector submenu and connect it to the gradient node. Set Y rotation to 90. Add a texture coordinate node from the input submenu and connect the generated output to the mapping node. Back to 3D view. Press numpad 1 for front view, then from the View menu choose Align Active Camera to View. In Outliner, drop the background into the camera object. In Constraints panel, add the Limit Rotation constraint and turn on Limit X and Limit Y, minimum and maximum all at 0. Convert is world space. Add the Limit Location constraint, enable all limits, all at 0. Convert is also world space. In World panel, click Use Nodes. Change the color to white. In Render settings, I'll use the HD 720 preset for dimensions, 50% resolution for preview renders, otherwise 100%. Change the frame rate back to 30 FPS. For the output file destination, click the folder icon. I'll enter the name directly in the field tutorialmovie.avi. Choose a compressed video format from the pop-up menu, such as Octiora or H.264. I'll use AVI JPEG RGB, quality at 90%. In Sampling pane, click the clock icon for varied noise. Set Clamp Direct to 4, Indirect to 3. Render samples to 10 for preview renders, 200 for final output. In Light Paths, set Diffuse Bounces to 2. In Post-Processing, set Dither to 1. In 3D view, zoom in on the camera view. Press N for Properties and enable Lock Camera to View. Now arrange the camera view however you like it. To enlarge the background, select it, tap to Edit Mode, and with cursor in the center and 3D cursor pivot point, press S and scale it to cover the view. Tap to Object Mode. When ready, press Ctrl F12 to render the animation. When the render is finished, press Ctrl F11 to play the rendered movie. And that's it, we're all done. If you've completed this entire tutorial series, then pat yourself on the back, you've done very well. I hope the figurine and the lessons prove useful in your work. I leave you with some further renders for inspiration. Until next time, do feel free to comment and subscribe for future updates.